Tonight on PM Express, my name is Aisha Ibrahim, but we're looking at the University of Education Winneba Impasse, and we're asking the question, resolving the standoff. How do we resolve that standoff? And we know, and you may have seen how the protest has gone into day 2. Students of that university have been protesting for 2 days continuously and asking that the Vice-Chancellor be sacked. And what are the reasons? They're demanding the reinstatement of 3 lecturers who have been sacked. The 3 lecturers, though, how were they sacked? Professor Ephraim Inso, principal of the College of Languages at Ejumakofo, he was sacked for not cooperating with other management members. Dr. Emmanuel Osei Sapong, an alumni representative on the University Council, for showing disrespect to the council and refusing to back their decision. And of course, Dr. Frimpong Kechre Duku's appointment was revoked after initiating legal action against his employer. And of course, those are the reasons that led to the protest. But UTAG has been holding a press conference, and they have been updating the public on what they want done to the Vice-Chancellor. First, UTAG pegs the number of people who have been sacked, suspended or demoted arbitrarily at over 30 as at now. That is the number or the records that UTAG has put out there. Now, UTAG describes also the event as victimization and polarization on the University of Education Winneba campus. And of course, it has accused the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Reverend Anthony Afo-Bruni, of failing his assigned task. We'll be interrogating more into this and ask the UTAG to explain what it means by the man failing his task. Of course, UTAG also wants the immediate resignation of the Vice-Chancellor, and they've been very, very passionate about this call. Again, they are also launching their support for students. They want first the reinstatement of the dismissed staff of the school, and then they have declared support for the students' demonstration, but they're urging them to be cautious. Of course, that was one statement that came from the president of UTAG, Eric Opoko. Now, MP for Efutu Afenyo Markings has been accused for the recent troubles at the university. And the explanation has been the lawsuit they filed against the former Vice-Chancellor of that university, Professor Avoka, to step down. Now, the MP is also accusing a lecturer at the university of orchestrating the whole trouble. So there's been some kind of counter accusations that we'll be interrogating into that as well. And don't also forget that the calling for resignation of the Vice-Chancellor comes 4 days after the Vice-Chancellor chopped 1 year in that university. So the question remains, how do we resolve the impasse? And this evening, we'll be finding ways of resolving the impasse. My guest tonight on PM Express, Alhassan Bawa, is lecturer at the University of Education Winneba, and he will be joining us very shortly. And then again, Adugu is acting SRC president. He's been leading the students who've been protesting, and he's sitting right here. He'll be joining in this discussion. Unfortunately, the president of UTA can't be in the studio, but he will join us via Skype for that conversation because he's very, very passionate about this discussion. And again, I need to clear this confusion because Afenyo Markings agreed to be on this platform, but I mean, just few minutes to this show, he called to say he had other engagements. So unfortunately, we can't have him on this show, but we'll try if we can get him on Skype or on phone to join this discussion, because he's also got some answers, some questions to answer. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. This is PM Express. We'll be back.
exactly do you want done? So obviously, they are all talking and I cannot hear them. But all that they are saying is that they want their lecturers back. And they want the removal of the Vice Chancellor. They suspect that there are some unfair treatment on campus.
These students of the Hypers department, yesterday we were there and we heard that for immediate past HOD, who is currently one of the best lecturers. As you can see, they couldn't even give me the chance to grant you this thing, because he's the lecturer that we seem to be the best lecturer in the department. He is the one who has the sociology, is the one who teaches the soccer, first aid, and a lot of courses that we don't see any lecturer in this our department taking us through.
We had a call from our Dr. Jinapo that he is also sacked. That he was at the lecture hall teaching the level 400 face-to-face. He had a face-to-face with them, and he had a text message that he is sacked. So we want him back. He didn't do anything. So we want him back. He is the only lecturer in our department. We students want him back because he was then our HOD. When this man came on power, they stepped him down and brought another HOD. So we don't want our HOD. They should change our HOD and bring back our Jinapo. There's an intimidation affecting us. And lots of intimidation affecting us.
The time that they have sacked the man is not good. Not the time, because if you check, we are now on 6th week of the whole semester. That means that we have some few days for mid-semester quizzes. You see, so this one is going to affect the whole university, not only Hypers alone. So we are fighting. We are fighting to all the authorities that they should bring the man back. We need him. If not, something else will happen.
There are issues of ultimate importance in this university. Sacking a lecturer is not important.
Never.
There are issues that are very important in this university. This whole university, there's only a quarter of us that have been accommodated on campus. There is no SH president. There are issues that are impending. The security on campus is very poor. I'm telling you, this semester, this academic year, there is no SH president. There is no executive because the elections were boycotted by court. Court all the way. See, we don't know what is happening. The thing is, communication to the students are very poor. We don't know what is happening in this university. So our worry now is, why then are you facing the lecturers when students are rather suffering? The students here are suffering. We are suffering. My brother, you can't sack a lecturer in the middle of a semester. A lecturer lecturing people about 6 courses. You sack them in the middle of a semester. What do you want the students to do? Now, the UTAG executives are not really happy with the dismissal of the lecturers as well. UTAG President Eric Opoku says they are going to do everything they can to bring back these lecturers because there are some precedents, including a court case that was just determined by the Cape Coast High Court.
Set aside the judgment, the earlier judgment by Winneba High Court, asking these executive members to step aside. Once they did that, we as National UTAG waited patiently and got a copy of the judgment on the 25th of February 2019. So upon receipt of the legitimate document, we wrote formally to this university, to the management of the university, requesting that they give due recognition to these elected executives as a result of the outcome of the appeal case. We also wrote to the executive, Dr. Kechi Duku, that now that the court had duly cleared him, he can hold himself as the duly.
So you just saw excerpts of some students from the University of Education, Winneba, protesting against the sacking of some 3 lecturers, and that has gone into day 2. And in the studio, I have the right people who will provide some answers to the questions that are bugging your mind. Let me start with Isaka Akudugu, who is acting SRC president. Now, Isaka, the reasons for sacking these lecturers have been clearly stated. And of course, for instance, if you look at Professor Ephraim Nso, he was sacked for not cooperating with other management members. And Dr. Emmanuel Sapon also was sacked for showing disrespect, according to the statement, to the council. I mean, this is enough explanation. Why are you still protesting?
Thank you so much for this opportunity. The first correction that I wanted to go on record is that it's not the SRC that is leading this demonstration.
Okay.
And it is not the general student body who is on this demonstration.
Okay.
It's a section of students from the Physical Education Department, that is HIPES.
Okay.
They are protesting because of Dr. Sapon being sacked.
Okay.
And it is not all the general student body who is demonstrating. That should be on record. And
Okay.
SRC have not sanctioned any student to go on any demonstration.
Right.
These are purely managerial issues and they are labor issues, and SRC need to stay off it clearly.
Update us on what has led to this situation, because this didn't begin today. We know that there are a lot of circumstances that led to this situation we're witnessing now.
Well, as I said earlier, these are managerial issues. These are labor issues we are talking about. And as SRC president, what we care is, you know, the interests of the students and ourselves, what the environment will create for a conducive academic, you know, activities to go on.
Okay.
And as long as we are having our lectures as scheduled and having other academic activities as scheduled, we presume the academic work is good to go. If management sit down at some point in time to see that maybe one of the employees had violated certain code of ethics of the work and they deem it necessary and they pass him through the disciplinary rifle process and terminate his appointment, we have no say but just to make sure that at least academic work progresses as scheduled.
But the SRC is supposed to be a representation of the students.
Absolutely.
Have you engaged this section of the student population that is engaging in this demonstration? What have they been telling you?
Certainly, we have contacted some of their leaders. But what is intriguing and interesting is that some of these people who were interviewed and they were talking, some of them were not students. Some of them are a faceless group of individuals who want to take the volatile nature of the university and come and, you know, push certain agendas.
But some of them are also students, because whilst you were watching, I saw you nodding and pointing to some of the students.
Yes, some of them are students, all right. But the leadership from the HIPES have not sanctioned that.
Okay.
I have spoken to them. I met them yesterday. I guided them what to do. And they told me they would write a petition, and I guided them accordingly.
Okay.
They've submitted the petition to their head of department.
Okay.
I think that is the best way to go, but not to be protesting and disrupt academic work. We will not support that.
Right. Let me speak with Al-Hassan Ba. You're a lecturer in the university. You've been following all the issues happening. What's your own appreciation of the situation we're witnessing now at the university?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come in. The situation on the ground is not a true and proper reflection of the students' grievance, because we have evidence that certain people, particularly politicians or a politician, is actually behind all these upheavals. And so it is not like the university management is not doing its work. For example, the students, they are the primary clients of the university, and the university and the Reverend Father Professor Afro-Broni, since he took over on 14th July 2018, has done really 14th July 2017, that he took over as the acting vice chancellor when the court gave those consequential orders at the Winneba High Court. And so he has done really well, and I think objective people who are associated with the University of Education Winneba will attest to this fact, because internet, for example, I joined the university in 2014, and not for once was I able to connect to the internet in the university. Not for once. I wasn't able. Faculty were at the North Campus at that time, business department at that time. Not for once was I able to connect to the internet. And as soon as father took over, that is the current VC, Professor Afro-Broni, took over.
Okay, but so for you, he's done so much for the school and he doesn't deserve to be treated this way.
That is the fact. Because when you compare his about 19 months in office with the 22 months of Professor Avoke, honestly, it's a mismatch in favor of Professor Afro-Broni. It's a mismatch because within this short while that he has been there for 19 months, look, what he has done, I think Professor Avoke, with the 22 months that he had, he couldn't even do a quarter of it.
But you've been accused of collaborating with the Vice Chancellor to perpetrate what the UTAG describes as victimization and polarization of the University of Education Winneba campus.
UTAG, to be honest with you, it appears not to be a credible association at the moment, especially the leadership of UTAG.
But it's recognized across the country. How do you say it's not a recognized
I'm not saying
group?
that recognized, I'm saying that credible.
It's not credible?
It's not credible.
Since when did it become uncredible?
Yes, there is evidence that the MP for Ifutu constituency, Afenyo Markin, we have evidence that he met the UTAG national executives at some point. He met them at some point this week, early this week. He had a meeting with them. And after the meeting, he took pictures and posted it on his Facebook wall. So an MP, under what laws of Ghana, has an MP got the right to go and meet the leadership of a teachers association?
He's a member of the he's a member of parliament for Ifutu, so of course he should be concerned about issues that happen in his constituency.
That is, you are talking about a rational human being or rational situations. In this instance, we are dealing with someone who wants to control everything. He is not the only MP. He's not the only MP who is who has a university in his constituency.
Okay.
We have so many of them. We have so many universities in there. You have KNUST. It does not sit in a vacuum.
Wouldn't you describe him as proactive rather than describing him as a nuisance to the university?
Honestly, I don't hate him. He's a human being. And I have no business hating a fellow human being. But when someone is actually pursuing an agenda that is detrimental to the public at large, some of us will not take it. And at the moment, that is the path he's on. And there is no way some of us will ever support such an agenda. Because what he is doing is not in the interest of the university, it is not in the interest of this country. It is in the interest of his own self and nobody else.
All right, let me get onto the phone line. Eric Opoku has just joined us. He's the president of Utah. Good evening to you. Many thanks for your time on PM Express. Dr. Eric Opoku, you're on PM Express.
Hello, yeah.
Yes, so you certainly are not happy about the recent happenings at the University of Education Winneba, and I've been hearing different accounts of situations that have led us here. What's your own account of the situation that has led us here?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm watching your program, and I'm really surprised. My own colleague in on set is describing current UTAG has not been credible because of a meeting we had with the MP. I want to make a little clarification before we move on. You see, issues regarding UEW, myself and my executive members and the National Executive Committee have deliberated on issues on UEW for the past 2 years. If you recall, when Professor Mauta Avoke was asked to step aside, UTAG, led by my own good self, never came out publicly to say that that was wrong, because we felt that that was the pronouncement of the court. And UTAG has been very consistent with following the decisions of the court. When the current UTAG executive of UEW, led by Dr. Frimpong Duku, was asked to step aside and that they shouldn't even hold themselves as executives, members of UEW, we, the national leadership, suspended them until a court asked them to come back. That's the appeals court judgment. That set aside the earlier judgment of the Winneba High Court. And it's on record. Secondly, myself and my executive members have had numerous and very wonderful relationship with Professor Afubuni, and have constantly engaged him. He can ask his Vice Chancellor that he should work and make sure that all those on Professor Avoke's side, the impact that has bedeviled the university, they should work closely to bring them together so that the university can move forward to fulfill a strategic plan. Now, to sit here and say that, begin to compare him to the so and so months of Professor Avoke, it's unfortunate, but I'll let it go.
But
now, substantive issue.
Dr. Opoku, you're demanding an immediate resignation of the Vice Chancellor, as well as the reinstatement of the staff that have been sacked. Now, you describe this as a victimization and polarization on the University of Education Winneba campus. How do you explain this?
Look, a lot of things have happened on UEW campus. As I said, I have not had a single meeting, or twice or thrice. The Vice Chancellor and his management team, have met me several occasions to deliberate on the issues on UEW campus. Now, if my colleague in the studio would confirm, all those who have been sacked are people who have expressed some sympathies or expressed some sympathies for Professor Mauta Avoke. All of them, every one of them. My colleague and my young student in the studio, if they are aware, should confess whether there is any of them those sacked, whether there is any of them who had not expressed publicly their concern about some of the issues that were happening on the UEW campus. Dr. Frimpong Duku, after the appeals court quashed the earlier decision of the Winneba High Court, was asked to go back and function or hold himself as the legitimate president of UEW. The letter, upon receipt of that court judgment, we wrote a letter to the management saying that because of the outcome of the court case, because we didn't want to make any pronouncement or fight for any UTAG executive because he is a member or he is an executive. We said that, look, once the court has pronounced judgment, stay aside. We will not call you to next meeting, even on our next platform. We have to remove them. And until the court clears you, we are no more going to recognize you. So once an appeals court did so, that was when we wrote formally to the university that it was the court case that debarred him from holding himself as such, together with his other executive members. Now that barrier has been removed, he has to be recognized as such, because my colleagues on UEW campus have been in the dark so far as UTAG affairs are concerned. They don't know what is happening because their duly elected representatives cannot function as such because of the long legal battle. Just when we wrote the letter, then an emergency meeting was held and a decision taken to summarily dismiss him. How can this happen? All of a sudden, just when we had written a letter to asked for his reinstatement. We know there are so many things that I cannot talk about here, because of course we put out our statement here. But on the surface of it, you know, there are ways of legitimizing decisions so that everything will look perfect. We think what is going on UEW campus is further going to deepen the polarization and is not going to unite the university. When the President of the Republic, during the investiture of Professor Afuboni, gave a speech asking or charging the Vice Chancellor to unite all the feuding factions, I was asked by the Minister of Education that we should help the university come to this point. And I told Reverend Professor Afuboni that we are going to help to make sure that, well, if Professor Avoke, because of what has happened, is leaving office, so be it, unfortunately, but now you are in the seat. We are going to help you so that all the sides, it got to a point in time when my own UTAG executive members on UEW campus felt we had betrayed them because we were intimately, you know, discussing issues about the future of the university with Professor Afuboni.
So how did
knows what I'm talking about.
How did it turn? All I mean, all of a sudden. But let me come to studio and find out from Mr.
Maybe if I could answer that question before you go to your studio guest. It turned out all of a sudden. It turned out this way because we felt that where we had gotten to, and it was going to be simply recognizing them and working with them. You know, to make sure that there is unity, because I don't think that it is necessary to line up people to take them through this disciplinary process simply because they might have expressed their sympathies or might have been involved in court cases and all of that in relation to the support they give to Professor Maoto Avoke.
But for
work together with all of them and move forward, because the university is going through a period of pegging itself. And by listening to what the President said, it was important that all those who had hurt people one way or the other be forgiven so that the university can move forward.
But for somebody like Professor Ephraim Inso, he was described as being this, he was not cooperating with management, and then with the Emmanuel Osei Sapon, he was disrespecting the council. Are you not being insensitive to the Vice Chancellor if he sacked people for these reasons?
No, in every public university, it's because it doesn't come out. UTAG lecturers take the university to court. They challenge the status quo in so many ways. That is the culture of a university. If University of Ghana, University of Cape Coast, Mukwame University, and all the other big public universities in Ghana are going to say that, oh, this person has taken the university to court, or this person has challenged the status quo, and therefore we need to sack these lecturers so that we can have our peace, then very soon, no lecturers will be left in our classrooms to teach in our public university. All
right, Doc, let me come back to the studio and find out from Al-Hassan. But your colleague is not happy that you're describing UTAG as uncredible because of a meeting you had that did not go in your favor.
A meeting?
A meeting?
You heard Dr. Eric Opoku just mention that.
What meeting? I didn't have a meeting with them. They never engaged any of us in Winneba. Okay. They went and had their meeting with their Afenyomakin, who is now their financier. I mean, whatever they did with him, only God knows, but it will come out very soon, because as soon as the meeting ended that evening, I think they had the meeting either yesterday or so. Then the following morning, UTAG issued a press statement calling for the resignation of the VC, which is clearly which clearly shows that there was something underhand that went that took place at that meeting, and so they came out to issue their statement calling for the resignation of the VC. And my question to UTAG is, what wrong has the VC done? VC, the Vice Chancellor, does not have the power to dismiss senior members.
And my question to you is, what interest does Afenyomakin has in creating this kind of tension in the university?
He wants the money of the university. It's as simple as that. He is after the money of the university.
The university is that rich?
It's not rich. He even proposed that 10 Ghana cedis each be put on students' fees. He made a proposal like that so that it will come to him for him to use for whatever he wants to do, and the university refused it. So many other demands which does not augur well because, for example, that 10 cedis he asked to be put on students' fees, the university has no authority. It has not got the power to just decide on fees. It has to go to Parliament for approval. That's why for the last 3 years or so, the university hasn't been able to increase fees because Parliament hasn't given approval. And you, an MP, who is supposed to have the interest of Ghanaians at heart, a legislator, to look after this country, you are saying that they should put 10 Ghana cedis on students' fees. I wish he was here so they'll go head to head. I know he'll deny this, but he asked for it. He asked the university management to do that, and which is wrong. It is it is money and nothing else that he is after, and that is why he is causing all this chaos. He is the brains behind everything. We have evidence that he is the one who is orchestrating all this. And I hope that the government will send to me, the best way out is to send the BNI, to send all the CID. They should come to the ground and actually carry out proper investigations as to what is actually happening. Most of the demonstrators, they are not students. They are town boys whom he has passed in there for them to carry out these demonstrations.
You mean the MP?
Yes. They are his boys. This morning he was on campus. This morning he was on campus. One of the dismissed staff, Lawrence Kwachi, he was at the political science department. For the 10 years that he was a lecturer, he never wrote one academic article for publication. Several letters sent to him to write and then better his academic standard. He couldn't do it. And so based on that, his appointment was terminated. It wasn't based on the fact that he was associated with advocate or somebody. It was purely based on his inefficiency. And let me just say one thing before you come in. He mentioned that Professor Advocate, people or whatever are being sidelined or are being victimized. That is wrong. You have Professor Advocate's wife. She's still a staff of the university.
But do you appreciate the fact that when this new Vice Chancellor came in, UTAG was supporting the Vice Chancellor? Or you think I mean, they did otherwise?
UTAG is supposed to be a reasonable and forward-thinking organization under normal circumstances. But in the circumstances that UEW has found itself in the last 2 years or so, it appears that UTAG, they have taken sides. For example, at the beginning of Reverend Father Afro-Bruni's administration, they declared nationwide strikes, which were ineffective. Nobody listened to them. Because the fact, the gist of the matter is that if Professor Advocate believed that he had a case, you go to court, and the court will decide your fate. Okay,
let me have you hold Mr. Alhassan Bawa and bring in Dr. Ahmed Jinapor, who is UTAG Secretary on the University of Education Winneba campus. Good evening to you. We appreciate your time on PM Express.
Aisha, good evening to you, and good evening to my good brother Bawa.
Okay, so you just listened to the banter in the studio, how he describes what has happened on campus, and he says that it is the MP who is orchestrating it. What's your own account of the events on campus?
First of all, let me say, Aisha, I speak to this issue as the secretary of UTAG, UEW. So I speak on locus, and I have the gravitas to speak to this issue. Because as Alhassan Bawa sitting there will attest to that I'm the elected secretary of UTAG, of which he is a member. Number one, I would like to know the basis upon which Mr. Alhassan Bawa is sitting and speaking to this issue. He's a lecturer, that's number one. And we have about 1,000 to 2,000 lecturers.
Because he's been accused. He's been accused.
No, Asha, let's relax. I want to establish the basis.
Right.
Because he tried to lampoon and discredit UTAG National, of which we are a subservient to. I heard the UTAG National President speak to this issue. In any case, for us as UTAG UEW, of which I am the Executive Secretary, we are trying to stay out of this issue to see how issues play out. Relative to Professor Afro-Bruni, UTAG National have said, based on their investigation, that Professor Afro-Bruni must resign. And I do say, UTAG UEW, without any equivocation, support that position of UTAG National. For us, we believe that Professor Afroni has lost the locus, the integrity, the respect, the moral aptitude.
What's your response to Alhassan Bawa's accusations that the MP is orchestrating this whole thing because he wants to dip his hands into the pockets or into the money for the university?
What is the evidence? Or what Alhassan Bawa is saying, and I do not want to address the issues raised by Alhassan Bawa because, as I said, in the first place, he does not even have the locus to fit there. In what capacity is he sitting there?
Because he's been accused by the MP for helping the VC orchestrate all of this.
Hold on. Alhassan Bawa is one of about 2,000 lecturers that we have under the umbrella of UTAG. He's not a senior lecturer. He's not a PhD holder. He became a director of an office under the offices of Afroni. And he's written so many articles to support Afroni. I'm speaking from the point that, number one, UTAG National has said that Afroni must resign because he does not have the moral turpitude to be the president, the vice chancellor of UTAG, of UEW, and we support it. So if Alhassan Bawa is sitting there, you can parade about 2,000 lecturers who work in UEW. So, I mean, he's just doing the bidding of his boss.
Dr. Jinapo, I'll have you hold and bring in Dr. Eric Opoku here. So there are those who actually feel that dialogue should be what you should be calling for in this situation, because you've admitted that when the Vice Chancellor came in, you supported him with everything that you could for him to succeed. So if there is an impasse, there should be dialogue to resolve this issue and not calling for resignation.
Listen,
why are you calling for resignation?
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of this country. Hello? Aisha, can you hear me?
Yes, you're still on PM Express.
His Excellency, the President of this Republic, be he as the individual that he is, came in, asked Professor Afroni to be reconciliatory in terms of bringing everybody on board, no matter which side of the pendulum that you belong to.
Right.
Alhassan Bawa is a very good friend of mine. He knows me very well. I'm a very strong advocate of Africa. But when the President spoke, we all had to follow in line. But Professor Afroni, I don't want to address Mr. Bawa, but at the end of the day, the question that is being asked is that what did Professor Afroni do in terms of reconciling the university? Didn't matter. He went about on a second spree. So I ask this question: what is the locus of Bawa sitting there talking so much about Professor Afroni when he claims that he is a member of UTAG? National UTAG have spoken. We, as members of UEW, and Action, am I the secretary of UTAG UEW? Yes, I am. And we support the position of National UTAG that Professor Afroni has lost the respect and the integrity of being a vice chancellor of UEW, and he must resign. And we continue and we support that position. He needs to resign. It doesn't allow that. Everything he says about Afenamaken, we are not going to take it. Probably, I mean, Afenamaken is a crusader, a very principled guy. I mean, he was writing articles in support of him. If Afroni thinks that what the guy is doing is right, I don't know why. Afenamaken is a very good guy. We support him.
All right. Many thanks. Many thanks.
There's no doubt about it.
Many thanks to Dr. Ahmed Jinapo. Dr. Ahmed Jinapo is UTAG Secretary on the University of Education Winneba campus. We'll take a break because I need to also bring in Mr. Alhassan Bawa and also get Isaka's appreciation of all that has been happening, the counter accusations. But we're also trying to get the MP, Afenyo Markings, to also hear his side of the story. We'll take a break on PM Express and we'll continue with this interrogation. If you just joined us, you're watching PM Express. We're interrogating the impasse on the University of Education Winneba campus, and we're asking the question, how do we resolve the impasse? And in the studio with me is Isaka. I find difficulty in the Akudugu, who is acting SRC president, and also Alhassan Ba, who is lecturer. We're joined on the phone by secretary to UTAG on the University of Education campus, Dr. Ahmed Jinapo, and Dr. Eriko Poku, who is president of UTAG, is still with us on the line. Mr. Alhassan, two of your colleagues are against you, and you yourself, you're a member of UTAG, and you're describing it as incredible.
Yes, I still stand by those words. UTAG is not a credible organization at this moment. For example, as soon as the Court of Appeal in Cape Coast, it quashed the Winneba High Court ruling, overturned it, and gave those orders that yes, that is Dr. Kechire's, the former staff of UEW, when the court reinstated them, the first thing they did was to go to the bank and to ask for access to the money there. They never came to meet the staff. They didn't make an attempt to even meet us, to tell us that, oh, this is the court ruling we have had. A message was just circulated on WhatsApp. That was all. And the next thing, they went to the bank, and the bank denied them access to the bank.
So you still stand by your position that it's not credible.
Just imagine this scenario I've just given you. You have got a court ruling putting you there as our leaders. The first thing they should have done was to come to us and talk to us. This is the ruling that we have got from the court. Okay. So we are your leaders. They never did that. They rushed to the bank to get access to the money. So what type of leaders are that? Okay.
So, but Isaka, you are saying that you've not approved of this demonstration by a section of the students in the university. Wouldn't they be disappointed with you being a representative of the students and you not supporting them at this time they describe as critical?
Well, thank you so much. I don't think they should, and I'm not sure they are. They are rather with us. You see, the issue is that if you look
and they are still demonstrating?
Well, as I told you earlier, it's a section of them. Okay, and if you look at the act of the university, our university is established with a special mandate. We are being trained to be future teachers, okay, of this great nation. And of such, we shouldn't be exhibiting certain characters. That is not good.
So they can't even complain when they feel they have issues?
That is not the issue. We are in an academic environment. We have rules and regulations governing the university. Okay. We have the student handbook. If you have a grievance and you are a student, that is why SRC is there. Okay. Even at the departmental level, they have associations presidents. Okay. You can approach them, and if you cannot, channel your issues to us, and we'll take it up there.
So you think they will not be disappointed with you? They're rather applauding you for for not supporting them.
Because we will not sanction any lawlessness that will interrupt academic work. Because we are there purposely for academic work. Okay. And so any activity that will interrupt same, we will not sanction that.
Let me get Dr. Eriko Poku on this. And you've called for the resignation of the Vice Chancellor. And many are those who think that dialogue should be what you should be calling for. Why are you calling for resignation? Is that the ultimate solution to this problem?
Yeah, thank you. Aisha, I think Bawa is disgracing his Vice Chancellor.
How?
And all the things he's talking about are palpable lies. I have never been to any Winneba bank. What he's talking about is lying. I have never been there to talk about even going to a bank. I was there yesterday to meet with different stakeholders and met with the students to find out what was happening, to get first-hand information.
But he made reference to the fact that when there was a ruling, a court ruling,
the whole argument on the table and trying to impugn my integrity. Look, I am the national president of UTAG, and I will not stand this. I cannot be, I cannot, come to this level, just because he thinks somebody might be influencing me. I have dealt with ministers of state. I have dealt with, very important personalities in our country. So let us elevate the discourse.
So
and
discuss
the issues on the table.
Exactly. Going forward.
Here. Dr. Jinapo came in to show everybody who is watching the show who these people are. This is a gentleman who has been hired to make a case through his writings for the current vice chancellor.
Doc, for the sake of time, how do we move on from here?
Stands by its core that so far as everything that is happening on UEW is concerned and how things have degenerated to this point, UTAG is calling on the vice chancellor to step aside, and that all those who have been dismissed arbitrarily be reinstated unconditionally. We have talked about these things, and as we said yesterday, we are going to work and do everything to make sure that peace and stability is restored on UEW campus, because the university belongs to the government of Ghana and the people of Ghana.
All right, so you still insist, Doc, that the vice chancellor must resign.
To come on the radio and television and to write articles and to come and denigrate the integrity of people. You are just wasting your time. I have a tougher skin, and I'm so sorry that he's doing this to himself.
All right.
He should think about posterity. He should think about the future of his university, where he gets his bread is buttered.
Many thanks for your time, Dr. Eric Opoku. That's all time will allow us, and we appreciate the fact that you joined us for this conversation. Isaka, just few seconds because we're running out of time. Just briefly, just make a point briefly.
As a student leader, I stand for peace.
You stand for peace, and Mr. Alasamba, we don't have much time.
Yes, but I need to respond to some of the issues that he raised.
Quickly.
The UTAC executives asking for the money. It is not UTAC National I refer. I said the court ruling was not in respect of UTAC National. Okay. It was in respect of UTAC UEW, Dr. Frimpong.
Okay, so your accusation is directed.
It's directed at the UTAC UEW, not him.
I think that going forward we'll have
updates. So he is the one
on
who
all
is
of
not
this,
actually saying the truth, and not me.
We will be moving on from here we'll be moving on from here, and we'll still be updating our viewers on happenings on the University of Education Winneba campus. Many thanks for watching. This is PM Express. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. My guests have been Alhassan Bawa, who is lecturer at the University of Education Winneba, and Isaka Akudugu is acting SRC president at the University of Education Winneba. Eric Opoku is president of UTAG, and we're also joined by Dr. Ahmed Jinapa, who is UTAG secretary, University of Education Winneba. Many thanks for watching. Good evening.